Hey everyone, how's it going? This is M.L.S. Weech, and welcome to another weekly episode where we look at 7 book covers, one for each day, and talk about why I think they're great. Maybe one or two things I might offer to make them even better. And then I let you guys vote for your favorite in a link down below. That's the important part. You have to vote. Speaking of down below, there are lots of things down there. There's a bell, there's a like, there's a subscribe button. If you could pretty much click every single thing you see down there, that would really help me out. One of the things is my author profile. I'm an independent self-published author. And if you will go to my author page on Amazon, take a look. The books are available. Look at the reviews and stuff. And if any of them interest you, give them a try. I would greatly appreciate that as well. Without further ado, let's just talk briefly about how it works. We're going to talk about last week's winner. Then we're going to talk about the 7 covers you can talk about this week. It's important because this is the last week of October. So the cover you pick this week will be the last one into the tournament for the overall 2021 M.L.S. Weech book cover of October. So let's look at this week's last week's winner. Last week's winner was Dragonbond by Ursula Visser. I thought the composition on this was just stunning. Dragons are always awesome. Everything kind of came together well. So it's a well-deserved victory for this author and this designer and this book. So big congratulations. Good luck in the tournament for October. And let's get right to looking at the 7 covers we have for week 4. The first cover we're going to look at is A Ruin of Roses by K.F. Breene. So this is, I call these text-based covers. Sure, there is a visual element, but the visual element is more of a backdrop than it is a anchor point for the eye to look at. I do like that the word of is right in the center of the rose. It's a very common theme, but it works as a good compositional thing. A splash of color does a lot. They might have been able to do a couple things with layering, where maybe you have like the S in front of the stem of the rose and the E behind it. And if you do something like that, it can create more depth. But, you know, K.F. Breene is a best-selling author. She didn't need any advice from me. In terms of design or whatnot, that might have gave it a little bit more sweetness. They do have some layering where it looks like the letter R is behind the rose. So they have a little bit. I think it could have been amplified a little bit more. You know, it is a handy cover, and if you like it, you can vote for it in the link down below. The next one we're going to look at is Unbonded by D.K. Holmberg. I love the tone of this cover. I mean the light tone, the gradations of gray, the way we go from black to white with that beautiful text down below. I don't normally like one element on top of another element. There's still enough space. They don't compete. You know, that's a giant werewolf behind this samurai. So even though they overlap one another, they don't visually compete because all the cool parts of the wolf, the big old maw, the red eyes, are in their own spot. And the young woman with the sword is in her own space. And so it's not that big a deal. Maybe make the wolf a little bigger and her a little smaller if you want to be a little nitpicky. But the color, even though there's not a lot of it, in this case, I'm just talking about the way everything blends, the way everything transitions from black to gray, is a very, very interesting design element. You'll have to forgive my washing machine, but it's going to do the boogie while I'm doing this. And I only record at very specific times. So the next one we're going to look at is At the Gates by Gage Richmond. And At the Gates by Gage Richmond is a fascinating cover. The color is amazing. The text is fantastic. So these figures, these, you know, star-crossed lovers, if you want to call them that, whatever they are, that's what they look like. But these 2 figures, they're not very traditionally rendered. I don't know if it's pixelation or artistic style, but it's very unique. It's not so unusual that it's not pleasing to look at, but it's absolutely different. So I think that there are going to be people who are very polarized on this cover. If they think that those figures are rendered in a wonky kind of way, they're not going to like this cover. For me, though, I do notice it, but it doesn't bother me as much as it might bother some people. I love the way the figures reaching for each other lead you in a circle straight where the tension of their outstretched hands are to the title text that leads you all the way down. That is really clever design. And I am pretty sure that the style of these renderings of these figures was a decision made by someone. And that decision is going to be very, very appreciated or very, very unappreciated. But the people who are drawn to that style are going to more likely enjoy the content of the book. So you're betting everything on whoever does pick up the cover and read it is going to love it, which is a very acceptable thing to do in design. The next cover we're going to look at is Privacy Lost by Edward Plutt. So there's not a lot going on in this cover. It's also text-based. This visual element is a little distinct. There's no spot color. There's nothing that locks the eye. And I think that's the biggest knock on it. Even if you just make the word lost a black or a stronger color, something to like grab the eye's attention and not let it go. I almost scrolled right by this cover. Why I didn't and why this cover is on this poll is this weird figure going on here. Now there's some sort of scientific thing. I don't remember the term for it. If you do, can you remind me in the link in the comments down below? There are times when there's a rendering and there's no intent to the rendering, but when a person looks at it, they end up seeing what they expect to see. I think I see a cloaked figure here with like this bearded cloaked figure. I don't know if that's really a thing or not. Do you see the same thing I see? And if so, did you see it before I pointed it out to you? I know that Rorschach is a thing, but I don't think it's the same thing I'm talking about. But it all kind of lies in the same theme. I'm looking at this, and part of me thinks it's like just some crackulature background texture stuff, and the other part thinks, no, that's a hooded figure, like in this muted background. That tension created by me trying to discern whether that's really there or if my mind is playing tricks on me is probably exactly what the artist was going for and why this works so well. So it works because it makes people want to see what it is they're seeing. The next one we're going to look at is part of a series. We've seen books from this series before. And this is A Throne of Feathers and Bone. And it's by Shannon Mayer and Kelly St. Clair. It's another text-based cover. Again, I always end up falling into themes, even when I'm not intending to. But this is a text-based cover. I love the feathers working their way back to it. It's a little clever to put like the femur-looking stuff on the end of the word bone. The red is a nice touch, especially when it has a gradient going from that deep red to that white. I don't know if it's true white, but it's about as close as you can be without touching it if it is. The text works beautifully for a cover of this type. The little filigree details on the edges add just enough touch. I'm not typically drawn to text-based covers, and this one does everything it's supposed to do, but it doesn't do anything that really impresses me. It's just well done. So if you're looking at this cover, you're like, well, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but then I think you can't blame a cover for only doing what it's supposed to do. That's like getting at a dog, getting angry at a dog. You tell it to sit, it sits, and you want to like a backflip or something. So that's something that you got to watch out for. So the next cover we're going to look at is Dance with the Fey Prince. Dance with the Fey Prince is by Elise Kova. I think we've seen one of her covers before as well. I'm going to bring it up for you right now. I love the color. I love the manner in which it was rendered. It's a very romantic style of art for a very romantic cover. I'm not a fan of romance, so I'm probably not picking this up, but that doesn't mean these figures aren't rendered with incredible detail and beautiful style. The text is actually very well chosen. The color makes it legible, and the style makes it fancy without being so such a weak or hard to see font that you can't read the texture. So that is all very, very well done. We got one more cover to look at, and that is going to be Invisible Sun by Charles Stross. Invisible Sun by Charles Stross. So this is a cityscape with a duo color or duotone style. And I appreciate what it does. I especially like how they increased the kerning, the space between letters, so that the peak of that skyscraper or that tower didn't poke into the text. So it's very well done, very meticulously composed, and the detail in each of the rendering. You can see some windows, you can see some trees. The elements together are worth more than their sum. And that is a very, very strong design theme. The unity of it, the way everything kind of connects, the interesting use of color scheme where you have this gold with this black and then white. Those are not traditional colors, especially for visual elements. The gold is just burnished enough to not be loud. So you look at the cover and it doesn't hurt your eyes to see. So this is all very clever design work. I don't know if I would do it, but it certainly works. I'm not a fan of the little catch line, they were waiting for war, or they're waiting for war. And whatever that is up in the up above, yeah, it's hard for me to see. I think that's really, really hard to read, really, really hard to see. And in my opinion, you really should have just left it out or put it on the back cover, put it on the inside blurb, whatever you're going to do. I wouldn't have put it on the cover. If I was going to put it on the cover, I wouldn't put it above that gold because it's tough to read. It doesn't really make it a weak cover overall. It is a very, very nice cover, and there are 7 of them. And I would like it very much if you went to the link below and voted on your favorite. So that's all we have for you today. Sorry for the occasional audio pops. My family is very, very patient with me, but everyone's just trying to kind of work together, and we all kind of just do our parts. So it's part of the charm. So I thank you very much for joining me. I hope you will vote for your favorite cover. I hope you will like and subscribe and tell your friends about this, because I like getting attention to independent authors or even authors in general, book covers, book design. These are all things that I very much enjoy. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful week, and God be with you.